our way to an unconscious person. It says that there's a female that's gurgling, with foam coming out of her mouth, barely breathing. So tensing. So we arrived on scene. We located an unconscious female laying in her bed. My partner and I began doing CPR, and we switched off, started life performing measures until medical could arrive. Once they arrived, they have a machine that takes over CPR, and they were able to get her onto the ambulance, and now are transporting her to the hospital where she can receive further care. It's very important to understand that in a rural, especially rural places or areas where there's a lot of distance between help, that everyone is certified on CPR and first aid. My entire squad just took a CPR class just a couple days ago. Just different aspects of our job that we do every day, and again, different types of adrenaline, different kind of stresses on the body. And eventually I have to go home tonight, and I got to turn all that stuff off, go home to my wife and kids, and not allow this stuff to affect me when I go home. So kind of reflecting back on this last call, as a law enforcement officer, my goal is to preserve and protect life. And recently, through the media and stuff like that, cops are portrayed as bad guys, or guys that are aggressive out there, trying to cause harm. And it just kind of brings me back to my childhood. I grew up in a rough area in Las Vegas where cops were considered the bad guys. Like, it was something that was bred into us growing up, that cops were out to hurt us and made us fearful of cops. And it wasn't until I started getting older and started trying to figure out who or what I wanted to be, and I had family members that were into drugs and criminal activity, and friends that were into drugs and criminal activity, and I was like, man, I just didn't want to be that way. I felt like there was a different way or a better way of doing it. So I finally I met a friend while in school that kind of told me about this law enforcement program called the Explorers, and I was like, man, I don't know, man. I was skeptical because I grew up thinking that cops were bad, and I just didn't know if that was something for me. Being a black kid in an urban neighborhood in Las Vegas, I just didn't feel that it was something for me. So I said, you know what? I gave it a try, and I mean, it changed my life for the better. I learned a lot about, the myths that everyone thinks, law enforcement officers are just these bad guys. I mean, are there bad cops? Yeah, absolutely right. But there's bad lawyers, there's bad doctors, there's bad judges, there's bad bankers. But there's really good people, really good men and women out here that are really trying to make a difference, that are, trying to leave the world better than they found it, And that's just my goal now. I come to work with a positive, happy attitude, regardless of what my day is feeling like in my personal life. I come to work with a positive attitude, looking to change the world for the better. Put bad guys in jail, get drugs off the streets, away from our youth, protect the elderly, and just give everyone a better quality of life. I put this badge on, I put this uniform on every day, knowing that I may not make it home to my family, just so I can go out and protect yours. Like, it's just something that I enjoy doing now, and it's a part of me. It's a part of who I am, and I'm glad I beat the myths of being a black kid in an urban neighborhood, and now I'm out here protecting people and just trying to make a difference and leaving a positive impact on everyone that I come into contact with, even criminals. I really enjoy sharing my life experience with some of the criminals that I've arrested, just so that way I can explain to them, like, hey man, I've been there, I know exactly what you're going through, and I think it helps me connect with some of these guys a little bit better. And like I said, I just hope that I leave a positive experience with everyone I make contact with.